Imagine this situation. You're in a tight barrel going down to a depth of several thousand meters underwater. There's only one small window, but behind it only a dark void. 'Cause you're sinking without any lighting. There is an endless water column around you, which is capable to bringing your body into bloody dust. If something goes wrong, you have nowhere to run. There is only a thin layer of carbon fiber between you and a terrible death. And it crackles more and more as you descend deeper and deeper to the old mass grave at the bottom of the ocean, where more than 1,000 people once found their end. Have you imagined this? It's dreadful, isn't it? Or maybe it's just my claustrophobia. Hello, my name's... and today we will talk about the death of the Titan submarine. Like so many stories, ours starts with one person. Meet Stockton Rush. He was a businessman, pilot, engineer and founder of the OceanGate, a company that organized underwater tours and scientific expeditions. Since 2021 it has also been organizing tourist expedition to the wreck of the Titanic. A submarine named Titan was designed for this purpose. We will definitely talk about its design later. But now let's focus on its creator for a while. By the way, Stockton's wife was Wendy Whale, the great-great-granddaughter of Isidore and Ida Strauss, who died on Titanic. Stockton criticized various government security checks and considered them a waste of time and money. The wreckage of the Titanic is in neutral waters, what means that all expeditions there do not fall under anyone's jurisdiction, which allowed him to ignore any safety regulations. In case of any incident, his client signed a no-claims agreement. From a legal point of view, everything is very reliable, unlike the submarine itself. By the way, let's focus on these documents for a moment. I think it's worth it. Point 1. The expedition includes activities involving subsurface vessels, surface vessels, and blah blah blah. Well, nothing special yet. Point 2. And that's where the fun begins. The experimental submersible vessel has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body and is constructed of materials that have not been widely used for manned submersibles. It turns out that our submarine hasn't passed any certification. Wonderful! And even more wonderful that documents say to us that the sub is made of shit and wooden sticks. It all looks so reliable. I wanna go to this expedition right now. Oh, and there's more. As of the date of this release, the experimental submersible vessel has conducted fewer than 90 dives, and 30 of those dives reached the depth of the Titanic. Prior to my participation in the expedition, there have been as few as 13 dives to Titanic depths in the submersible. So, only 13 dives were 100% successful. 13 out of almost 100. It doesn't look like a successful success. Point 3. When diving below the ocean surface, this vessel will be subject to extreme pressure, and any failure of the vessel while I am aboard could cause me
severe injury, disability, emotional trauma, other harm, and/or death.
Well, still wanna go, I guess. Point 4. The expedition support ship is an industrial vessel not specifically designed for passenger operations, and has
many hazards, including, without limitation, large heavy objects, heavy swinging doors, and low overhangs.
And here you see amazing preparation for transporting people to the dive site. Point 5. If I choose to assist in the servicing or operation of the submersible vessel, I will be exposed to risk associated with
high pressure gases, pure oxygen servicing, high voltage electrical systems, and other dangers.
that could lead to property damage,
Injury, disability, emotional harm, or death of myself or others.
I'm sorry, do I understand correctly that passengers will be responsible for maintenance during the dive? Point 6. The expedition will take place largely in international waters, at great distance from the nearest hospital or rescue personnel. And there will be no one to help us in this stressful situation and extreme pressure. Cool. So let's skip a couple of points, where it says that we're 100% aware of all the risks, and OceanGate will try their best to eliminate them. Last but not least, point 9. I, on behalf of myself, my heirs, distributes
Assigns, guardians, personal representative, estate, executors, administrators, assigns, and for all members of my family, including minor children.
hereby release, waive, and forever discharge OceanGate expeditions. That is, not only the participant of the expedition, but also anyone from their inner circle cannot make a climb. Whether it's parents, spouses, children, grandchildren, or a hamster. Very clever, isn't it? Now we should probably talk about the submarine. In an interview, OceanGate's employees called Titan a high-tech and breakthrough device. They called it unsinkable. How ironic! The same thing was said about the Titanic many years ago. It was a cylindrical carbon fiber body with a single illuminator. Fun fact, it was near the toilet.
So we're coming into the sub. This is the only toilet available.
Probably many people dreamed of looking at fish while they're shitting. But unfortunately no, they can't. Because to save energy all lighting sources were turned off during the dive. So at great depth you wouldn't see anything at all. The submarine was controlled using a Logitech game controller.
Taking a completely new approach to the sub design, and it's all run with this game controller and these touch screens.
These are budget gamepads that are not so set to break during the gaming. There probably wasn't enough money for a more reliable one from Microsoft. That gamepad was connected via Bluetooth, which is convenient for use in everyday life. But it isn't suitable for such a dangerous expedition, because it isn't too stable. In addition, the window glass wasn't designed for a depth of more than 1,300 meters. And Titanic is located at a depth of more than 3,700 meters. From all this, it's already clear that the design of the submarine was very unreliable. But Stockton was lucky for a long time, so the dives went without problems. But luck has one property: it ends. In the early morning of June 18, 2023, Titan began another dive to the wreckage of the Titanic. There were 5 people on the board. Hamish Harding, who was a British traveler. He traveled around the world several times, visited space and the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Shahzada Dawood is a Pakistani billionaire and philanthropist, along with his 19-year-old son Suleiman. Shahzada has been fascinated by the story of the Titanic crash since childhood. Initially, Suleiman's mother, Christina Dawood, was supposed to participate in the dive, but she gave her ticket to her son. His sister said Suleiman was afraid of diving and didn't want to be there, but he did it to please his father on the eve of Father's Day. He took a Rubik's Cube with him, so he could be distracted by it and be less nervous. Paul-Henri Nargeolet, an experienced diver and researcher of Titanic, who has previously made many dives like this. During his career, he has brought many artifacts to the surface. Stockton Rush himself led the operation and steered the submarine. These people had 3 hours to descend into the depths in eternal darkness. However, an hour and a half later, at about 5:45 am, the connection with them was cut off. The people at the surface didn't pay much attention to this, because it happens during previous dives. The mission stops only if there is no connection for at least an hour. That is, based on previous problems, they drew conclusions and decided to simply ignore it. Incredible professionalism! Should I say how many different terrible things can happen in an hour? When it comes to such a complex and dangerous process. The oxygen supply in Titan was enough for 4 days, which is actually a lot for such a small vessel. However, the rescuers had no so many time, because they had to not only find the submarine, but also raise it to the surface and open it. It was necessary to do all this before people suffocated inside the sub. But just installing all equipment on the ship to lift Titan took a whole day. The rescue operation was organized perfectly, with the involvement of the Coast Guard and aviation. All this could help in an ordinary shipwreck, but not in the case of a submarine lost at great depth.
With respect to the noises specifically, we don't know what they are.
No one knew it that the people on Titan had already died at the moment when the communication was lost. So, what happened there? It's assumed that the design of the sub didn't hold up. Water under terrific pressure began to penetrate inside. At this depth, a jet of water can cut a body in half. So it's likely all the people inside died instantly. Filled with water, Titan suddenly sank, and as a result, it was simply crushed. The wreckage of the submarine was later discovered and lifted. But not the bodies, cause there's nothing left of them. What was the cause of the tragedy? In fact, no one knows for sure, cause the fragments found are too badly deformed. It's extremely difficult to understand something from them. It's assumed that the carbon fiber body couldn't stand it. But then why didn't Titan die on the first dive? In fact, despite the generally poor design, the submarine was strong enough to carry out this kind of expedition. When diving underwater pressure, the whole material was compressed, and when lifting it was decompressed, which led to the appearance of a large number of micro cracks. Because of this, the submarine needed regular maintenance, which was not available against the background of strong savings. Or maybe the people who were supposed to do the maintenance just didn't have enough qualification. Probably at some point there were so many cracks that the hull simply couldn't stand another pressure drop. By the way, there were people at OceanGate who claimed too many risks and defects of Titan's design.
Do we expose civilians to this type of risk?
But Stockton Rush didn't listen to them, he just fired them.
Your thrusters can go, your lights can go, you're still going to be safe.
Which eventually led to the death of him and 4 other people. The company will most likely not be punished for what happened. As I said, OceanGate's legal protection is excellent, because it was the only thing that didn't save money. As for the main culprit of this tragedy, well, he had paid the price for his greed. It's difficult to imagine how this tragedy affected Christina Daoud, who gave the fatal tickets to her son. And also on Wendy Vale, besides her great-grandparents, Titanic has now taken her husband away. It even looks like a family curse. Many years ago, after the sinking of Titanic, the approach to safety at sea changed dramatically for the better. Perhaps the same thing will happen after Titan crash. But I don't really believe in it. Thanks for watching, but now my time is over.
I know I'm coming back. I know everybody's coming back.
Funkel, funkel, kleiner Stern, Kirby hat dich ja so gern. Tanz mit mir so Kirbyland, nehm dich fröhlich an die Hand.